What's up, guys? Welcome to Faith Avenue. We are your hosts. I'm Madison.
And I'm Kennedi.
And y'all already know where we are.
On a block where it's hot.
For Jesus. We did not plan to whisper that.
We did it.
But that's how it came out.
Right.
So if you're here and you have not watched our last episode, please go check it out. I am going to try to do that little thing where it like pops up in the corner or something. Mm-hmm. But it was part 1 to this episode, Journeying with Jesus. And we just kind of went over really understanding Jesus' role in our lives, accepting Jesus for his role, surrendering to Jesus' role so he could do his job. And it was some good stuff, and we hope that it could be a blessing to you if it's something that you're really struggling with. Yeah. So on today, Ken, part 2 of Journeying with Jesus, we talking about that F word, that T word, them 2 words.
Faith and trust. 2 things that seem so complex but are very much kind of hard if we're being real.
Oh, they're difficult.
Exactly.
Like if you have like you know how people have the meters of soft, easy, moderate, difficult.
Right.
This is on difficult. It's not even, it's challenging.
It is. But if you go back and watch the first episode before this one, it'll help ease you into it, I believe.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely hard out here. So just to begin, I guess I'll go through my think of faith. I think that as I continue to grow older in this walk with Christ, I am starting to realize that the whole concept of faith is absolutely crazy.
It is.
It's like insane. Like the more and more I go through life, and I'm learning about, why it's important to trust and depending on God. I'm realizing, this concept of faith is like, faith to me is like almost saying be psychotic.
Exactly. Literally.
It's like saying, I'm saying that I believe without any ounce of doubt. Being able to see how this is going to happen. It's saying that even though I put in, and it's just an example, not personal, but for somebody, even though I put in 60 job applications, I'm supposed to still believe without a shadow of doubt that you want me to keep applying to these jobs.
Exactly, and not one ain't respond.
And ain't got one response.
Right.
I'm supposed to believe without a shadow of doubt that even though I keep failing this doctor test, the MCAT, the LSAT, that you still want me to be a doctor or a lawyer, but I done took it 4 times.
Exactly.
And I'm supposed to believe. And so faith to me, like the older I'm getting, the more that God is just teaching me and making me more wiser, like making me wise and knowledgeable about stuff and demanding my faith to be strengthened. I'm like, Lord, can you give me something to work with?
Exactly.
Like, can you give me like a little pinch of vision around it?
Right.
So that way I can
show me it being done so I know that it can get
right. Done. And then he always come back and be like, but see, here's the reason why.
Right.
I can't do that because then if I do that, you being a control freak, you're going to take the plan into your own hands.
Exactly.
You're going to think you can run the plan and run the play.
Exactly.
The way Madison logically
Without me.
The way Madison logically feels like it makes sense to get there. So I feel like that has been like one of the most jaw-dropping things I've been going through lately. It's like really understanding like, faith is literally you putting yourself almost in like a state of delusion. Exactly. Like I am going to full force go after, believe, and profess that these things are going to happen for me. These things are going to happen. These things are going to happen with not a shadow of proof.
Exactly. Without it being seen yet.
Without it being seen. Right. Nothing in the physical of evidence that actually logically align. Because he'll give you some evidence, but the evidence don't be making sense. It be like, okay, Lord, logically, in order for me to get here and do this, and these are the steps you take. It might be, okay, you grow up, you go to college, you get a master's, you get a doctorate. Exactly. You take the exam, and then you become a doctor. But the way the Lord works, you end up being a doctor and ain't never did none of that. Exactly. It's just like,
but what? How?
But how?
Exactly.
How? So that has been a real challenge for me. And this episode, we just wanted to dive into, now that you understand accepting Jesus' role as your Lord and Savior, understanding that you're saved by grace through faith, that there's nothing you can do, no amount of work you can do to get God's love. Now that we're like, okay, we all acknowledge that we don't want to be Jesus. Jesus can do bad all by himself. Literally. Baby, doing Jesus' job is hard. Jesus can have his job. Okay, once we get there, we be struggling to let Jesus do the job, though. It's like, okay, Jesus, we accept you. We acknowledge you. We know you died for us, and we are grateful. But I'm struggling. It's like someday I be wanting to take your seat and do your job because I feel like you don't be moving fast enough.
Because I don't trust you.
Yeah, I don't trust you.
Right.
So that's what we want to dive in today, is this whole concept of, okay, trusting and having faith in the Lord.
Yeah, I feel like on this journey, even from down to starting this podcast, like that's been ringing in my mind. Trust. And it's crazy that we're even over a podcast that's called Faith Avenue, because
it's so ludicrous.
It is literally like, okay, who knew? But even with the podcast, like naturally, I'm a very isolated individual who I prefer to be by myself, and I'm not a public speaker. Like, the fact that I'm here alone is an act of faith, because I would have never envisioned my life to go as planned. But it took me having to trust God. And in some areas I trusted him, in some areas I did not.
Yeah.
But when I look back, and that's why you have to remember, because sometimes we lose sight and we forget about how he showed up in the last seasons and what our faith looked like in the previous seasons, that we forget to trust God, because we think, okay, God, you allowed for this to happen, but okay, so I feel like I'm capable now, that I can pursue it forward without you, and I don't have to trust you or have enough faith to see to it that it gets done. But what I'm learning now in this season is learning to trust God, and learning to be okay with trusting him with the things that I'm actively having faith for, like the things I have not seen and don't know how it will happen, but trusting him with that. And it's allowed for me to live easier, because I wasn't a person who was one of those kids who envisioned marriage and I knew my life was going to be like this, or I knew that my life would turn out the way, I didn't have that written out like that, because I didn't trust God. I didn't trust that I could accomplish these specific things. And now that I'm at this place now where I know, God, I can trust you, because it's not by my might.
It's by yours.
It's by yours. So it's now it's easier. I can write my visions down and actually believe that they will come to pass, because I know who holds my future in his hand. I know the one who knew the end from the beginning. Yeah. And I don't have to put the trust into myself anymore, because I know I'm not capable. Yeah. And it's been proven. Yeah. So now I can confidently stand on that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a major part of one of the things that's challenging with the journey of trusting in the Lord with all your heart and leaning not into your own understanding. Ooh. Not into your
not
own
leaning on your own understanding.
Because we missed that part.
Exactly.
We read the verse and we hoop it all over it, but we really ain't.
We don't know what that means.
Yeah, we really don't know what that means, though. But it's like you said, trusting in God, that the visions that you have, or the visions you feel like God are giving you, and the things you're passionate about will come to pass. But here's the thing about that, though. Sometimes they won't. But here's the thing. But it always ends up better. Exactly. And it's hard for us to be deeply desiring this vision and plan for our lives and what we see. Yeah. And then when we see God starting to move us in a different direction. And the thing about God, the one thing that I've grown to love about God that really used to just irritate me, if I'm being honest, because God know me, I'm his daughter, y'all. I don't come to God being King James. God know me, I'm stubborn. He be telling me some 2 or 3 times in one conversation before I'm like, okay. Okay, I'm listening.
Right.
I hear you. I'm sorry.
I had to see this a few times to get you, but I get you now.
But it's the Lord will change gears on you and change directions and routes he wants you to go at the most rashest moments. It feel like it's like at the most random moments they be like, Lord, everything's
He's like, yeah, we changing pace though. We changing the pace.
Right. I'm like, but Lord, we good. Yeah. We good. Everything's going great. Yeah. And it's like that is the part of trust for me that is mixed in with pure surrenderance that has started to give me a life of peace and started to make me realize, girl, you have nothing to worry about no matter what happens because you know the God you serve, you know your Father, and you know no matter what, it will be greater. I think about people like Tabitha Brown, for example. Tabitha Brown tells her story all the time. She wanted to be an actress.
Right.
Did this woman think that her come up or her becoming a household name one day would be from being vegan?
Right.
No.
Right.
This woman moved to Cali, wanted to be an actress, ended up having to move back home, got pregnant at the age of 20, wasn't planning on being pregnant, distraught because she couldn't move back to Cali because she was pregnant. Took some years, ended up going back to Cali, and still was there pursuing her acting career just for COVID-19 to hit and people to be so interested in her making vegan food on TikTok.
Exactly.
And that is what God had for her. But she was so passionate. I think about stories like hers, and it oftentimes gives me encouragement because I think, Lord, what I might have for me in the now might not be where you end up taking me.
Exactly.
But baby, if it's like a Tabitha Brown move, I'm still gonna be satisfied.
You okay?
And you
said you think it's small.
You think it's small. You need to be thinking.
You need to be thinking big.
Right. Like, I'm still gonna be okay with that. And that sometimes is hard. Like, you know, right now I'm mentally going through the preparation of a major life transition. I'm getting married, y'all. But the marriage ain't even the major life transition I'm referring to. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part. That's not even what I'm referring to.
Right.
But just like, you know, being in Georgia for 5 years and now entertaining the thought of possibly uprooting my life and moving back home to start my marriage at home where me and my fiance are from. And that took me down through there.
Yeah.
Like, me and the Lord was in the rink in the lab day after day, and I'm just pitiful about it.
Right.
And I realized, you know, one of the things the Holy Spirit has to remind me of is, Madison, you have nothing left. What do you have to prove?
Exactly.
What do you have to prove by staying where you are? Like, what do you have to prove by feeling like, oh, I've been living in Georgia since I came to college? You have nothing to prove.
Yeah.
The only thing you do have is disobedience. And that's the one thing you don't, I'm telling you, on the long run, you don't want to lack that.
Exactly.
So it's like I'm going through this transition, and even though moving back home may not seem like a big deal, because, you know, within that, it's like, girl, you about to get married, you about to start your life with your husband. Like, that's exciting, right?
Yeah.
But I started getting so flustered and frustrated over the thought of possibly us moving into our marriage, moving back home, that I wasn't even acknowledging the fact that this is a new era for both of us. And, you know, he's in South Carolina right now, I'm in Georgia, and this move home would be something new for both of us to start sharing in our new marriage. But I couldn't even focus on that because I'm just like, I don't want to be in Birmingham, baby. I want to be in Georgia.
Right.
So when the Lord presented that to me and put that on my radar, that like, hey, possibility I'm gonna call you to go back to where you came from 5 years ago. I was fighting him, and I'm like, Lord, one of the reasons I was fighting so hard is because that's not what I saw.
Yeah.
It's like, Lord, but I didn't see that. I love Georgia. My fiance loves Georgia. Why is this even on the table?
What could it have for me there?
What could possibly have for me there?
Yeah.
And I remember one of the days where I was bringing it back up to God again, because, honey, I was on his hotline every day. Hello?
You sure?
This is, I'm not feeling this. I'm trying to trust you to do your job, but I ain't feeling this. I'm not seeing anything that could come from this.
Right.
And the one thing that he told me, what I like about God, is he not going to tell you too much. It's like, because I'm still God, I'm still running the show, and if I tell you too much, you're going to get arrogant.
Exactly.
But he simply said to me, village. He didn't say your village is there. He literally just said the word village. My mom is there. My dad is there. My fiance's parents are there. Our grandparents are there. Well, we have grandparents there. He has some in Georgia. But the root and the heart of our village is there.
Yeah.
And what I loved about the mystery behind him just dropping that word on me is it gave me time to sit and meditate on that.
Yeah.
And think about all the reasons why I don't even know that I'm finna need my village.
Exactly.
In the next 5 years of my life.
That's good.
Because he's in control of my life, and he knows what he's planning to do for us, and me and Brian, in the next 5 years. So he's like, you don't know what I'm planning to do for you.
Right.
But what I'm telling you is your village needs to be there. So the reason why I'm putting on your radar that, yes, in 8 more months, you probably finna have to leave this place where you just got so happy for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
it's because I'm calling you to go back to a place where your village is. He didn't give me no details on that. He just said village. Right. But I was able to meditate on that and just like, wow.
Right.
So that'd be the hardest part about trusting, because it's like, Lord, but this ain't what I saw. Me and my boo over here looking at places in Georgia. We like, oh, like we just spent the whole first year like, oh, look at it. Like, you know, like I'm sending him stuff that I like. And the whole time it's like, girl, you researching the wrong thing.
That part. Trusting God, it really does. It really do be hard. Like, I'm actively learning to trust him deeper and more in my relationships. Because I want the best for everybody. And I feel like I have to be the one to provide the best. And that's a very hard form of control. But it's because I do see, God has allowed for me to see so much for people and in people that I feel like I have to be the one actively bringing it out of them. And one thing he's been teaching me is learning to trust God in every relationship, and trusting that, you know, when I make something known to you, it's not for you to do it. It's for you to come to me and bring it to me, because they may not know this about themselves, but I've given you the discernment enough to know, so that you can come to me, we can talk about it, and you can pray on their behalf, because they might not be in the season where they have the strength to pray, or even see that this is something. And God has been doing that in my life for a very long time, and I was never made aware. I never knew that was God telling me, like, I'm trusting you with this so that you can come to me and trust me with it.
And pray about it.
Exactly. On their behalf.
Because sometimes we got savior syndrome.
Exactly. And I have savior syndrome. Like, I want to be captain, save everybody. And it's rooted, and it was still rooted in the whole thing of acceptance, because I want for people to know that I'm holding
Kennedi
space.
Showed up for me.
Exactly. But it's like, but you're not God, though. The fact that you sat there and prayed for them was more than enough. And trusting that God will see to it that they get to the other side of whatever it is that they may be dealing with is where my faith and my trust is right now in my relationships. And it's even helped me in my relationship with God. It's like, okay, God, well, now I know I can just pray to you about it, and I don't have to be the one to exhaust every option, every avenue to try to see to it that this thing happens for myself or for other people. And it's taught me so much about trust in general, like my trust in people. It's like I can trust people with me now, and I haven't always been that way, but I'm grateful that he's been telling me this. But it's like, okay, Lord, I don't know what trust me. I don't even know what that actively looks like.
What really does trust
exactly
look like? It's such an easy thing to talk about.
Exactly.
You have to trust people. You have to trust people. Y'all, trusting people is hard.
Exactly.
This is like,
that is the hardest thing.
Not even being dramatic, but trust is like the fight of my life.
That wasn't dramatic at all, buddy.
It's the fight of my life. It's the long life battle. It's my ick. If y'all know about the icks, trust is my ick. Like, it's the one thing that I just, for some reason, it's always getting on my nerves. It's like, it's not even just with, I love what you said in the last episode of how your therapist told you you're being surfed with yourself. But I realized a lot of the trust issues I have with people, because it's people who genuinely deserve my trust that don't get it. And it's like, it's because it starts with me, and I don't trust me. I don't trust me. So it spills over into me not trusting the people around me. And sometimes it spills over into me not being able to fully trust God either.
Exactly.
Because I don't even trust myself.
Exactly.
So it's like, all of that mashed up together, it's just be a hot mess.
It be a hot mess.
But trust is really complicated and really hard. And even to what you're saying, sometimes when you bring it to God and pray about it, He'll put you on assignment again and tell you, okay, like now, next time they talk to you, I need you to say this.
Exactly.
And then He'll let you know when it's appropriate to speak.
Exactly.
Again, on the behalf of the relationship and stuff like that. But sometimes even when He do that, He have to be cautious, because we be thinking, well, because God told me to spoke again, now you my assignment. Exactly. And now everything you got going on,
you need to come through me.
Because I got the answers for you.
Exactly.
No. God might be feeding them everything they need to hear from so many different people. And that was another thing too, like, just kind of taking a quick detour, that is a struggle too. When you start to trust God, making sure that you still remember that as he's using you, it's him.
Exactly.
He's
and
using
not you. Exactly.
You're not doing it.
Exactly.
He's using you.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing, everything that you're saying, if you're prophesying, if you're praying these powerful prayers, it is through him. He's using you. You're not. It's not by your own might and will at all. But sometimes we get a little cocky.
We sure do.
We start thinking we got all the answers. Like, oh, prophetess. No.
You don't know it all, though.
You don't know it all, though.
Exactly.
And everybody won't be your person. I love when we attended, I was going to say Jackie Hill Perry. Jackie Green.
She's obsessed.
Jackie Green's Permission book tour.
Yes.
One of my favorite things she said is knowing that everybody ain't your person. I feel like I struggle with that because I don't view myself how people view me. People always tell me how they look up to me and this and that.
Powerful. My God.
Stop. People always say that to me. Literally earlier today, Kennedi and another one of our friends who I didn't even know said the same thing though. Like I didn't even know she felt that way, but she was like, I look up to you too. And I'm like, why?
Right.
Like, please. I'm not the standard.
She's really that girl.
No,
like,
I'm not the standard by any means.
Get you a Madison, but she's taken.
But it's like even in that, in all of those things, remembering that God is the person that's doing everything. And because so many people kind of say that they look up to me, sometimes I would stress myself out to always have something for people. And hearing Jackie say that is so ironic. It gave me permission, like the night of her tour, to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Max, you have permission for people to come and just sometimes vent their problems to you.
Yeah.
And you have permission to not feel guilty of being a friend who may not have anything for them.
Yeah.
I would feel guilty because I'm like, you're coming to me because you're looking for me to give you this encouragement and to give you something that can help you.
Yeah.
But some days I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing to give you, girl, because I'm barely giving myself anything.
Exactly.
My cup ain't even filled. So giving myself permission to do that because I learned, similar to you, Madison, you ain't the one that's saving them anyway.
Exactly.
Jesus is. You ain't the savior.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could tell you, but since you couldn't provide anything and the Holy Spirit didn't move you to say anything, just go pray about it.
Exactly.
And ask that they be led to the well, because I ain't the well.
Exactly.
He the well. I don't want to be the well. I'll hold your hand and walk you to it.
Right.
And be like, well, honey, I'll give you a verse, a song. Try asking God this next time of your prayer time, but I ain't the well.
Exactly.
Okay, so I completely relate to you and understand on that part. And another thing I want to touch on the part about me possibly moving back home, because I could not, who knows? And that's the whole point I realized. Why you side eye? That's the whole thing I realized. One thing God corrected me on in the character lesson I got from that situation was God's issue with me in that was the fact that regardless if it was home or Timbuktu, I wasn't willing.
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to go where he asked me to go. I was fighting him on being led to wherever he was calling me to lead. So it ended up being bigger than Birmingham.
Yeah.
Ended up being, but I need you to see this from a full scope. Wherever I call you to go.
Yeah.
I want an obedient and willing child who's willing to follow.
Exactly.
And I lacked willingness. And when God revealed that to me too, in the midst of me processing this whole thing, I'm sorry, God.
Yeah.
Because you're right. But my lack of willingness came from also
A lack of trust.
a lack of trust. A lack of trust. And now recently learning that lesson of, Lord, if you tell me to go to Birmingham or Spain, I'm moving because that's what you said move. I trust you, and I know that you're not the enemy in my story. Sometimes I be feeling like God is here to hurt me. And it's like, God, I know you're not here to hurt me. So even though I can't understand why you're telling me to do these things, why you're telling me to go left when I want to go right, I trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned the Permission tour with Jackie Green because I almost forgot. But it was so intentional for both of us to be there. I feel like throughout, like, what I'm learning to also on this journey of trusting God, what I'm also learning that I can trust God with is just all of me. Like, and I know that's so like cliche-ish in a way, but it's like I can trust him with every part of me. Like, I'm naturally awkward. Like, I'm naturally very goofy, but I'm awkward as well. And I thrive as such. But I didn't feel like I had the permission to be that way. And I didn't trust God with all of me. Like, and And I was looking to trust people with all of me, but he in turn showed me like they're not gonna always accept you, and that's okay. And but that tour, she was just speaking on just so much about our relationship with the Father, and I just felt like for me that was the open door. Like that was the permission for me to say, okay, Lord, I'm gonna trust you with every part of me and not feel any shame or any condemnation towards myself about how you created me, and trust that you created me for a purpose, for a reason, for such a time as this, and that even with all my quirks and everything else, that it'll be used to edify your name and bring glory to your name. And that was it for me. Like,
yeah, giving God all of us, and because at the end of the day, again, based off the last episode, if you haven't watched, go check it out. But we feel that way with God, and we're hesitant to fully trust and put our faith in Him is because of how we relation with people, and because people give us rejection. So it's like we don't want to go in and being fully ourselves and stuff like that. But that was a big revelation for me on the tour. It's like I love now that she titled the tour, her ministry is called Permission, because being honest, when I first heard the name of her ministry, Permission, it confused me. I'm like, what do you mean?
Right.
But after attending the tour, I'm like, we need this. We need permission. And I didn't realize how much I was lacking giving myself permission to just fully be me, flaw-filled and all in certain areas, like when people come to me looking for advice. It's like I be feeling like the pressure on, like, okay, I got to deliver. But at the same time, sometimes I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have anything for you, but I know the person who does.
Who does, exactly.
And I can give you a scripture to motivate you to talk to him. I can just tell you talk to him if you feel like it. I can sing you a gospel song to get you in the mood. But I don't have nothing.
I don't have nothing for you.
I don't have nothing for you, but it's just like that trust thing. It's just a daily battle.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm trying to get to this point where I feel like I've mastered and perfected trust, but I'm realizing like this is a journey for a reason.
Literally.
It's a journey with Jesus. It's a journey for a reason, because you don't ever master anything, including trust. And that's why, and trust being a form of my thorn too, something that I'm struggling to master. It's okay, because it also requires me to fully continue to seek and depend on God.
Exactly.
And because I feel like I struggle with that, like even when like we started acquiring new friends as a group, my trust situation,
same.
I was like, because similar to you in a sense, I have like, you know, I have a bold personality, right? Like I'm the more bold personality, like, hey, everybody, between both of us. But also me and you share this thing of being hesitant with giving ourselves to people. So it's like, that's one of the things that our friendship thrives off of, is we both have made the conscious decision of, okay, but I'm going to try to give the best of me to this girl that I can.
Yeah.
Because I don't like giving myself to people. But I'm going to try to give her the best of me and see how she take it. And I think we both felt like the parts of us that people would reject, like awkward or goofy, we just thrive in it together. We're like, oh, like that was so funny, right. You know, or whatever. Yeah. And it's like building new friendships. I'm like, no,
exactly.
Like,
I gotta open up to somebody else.
I gotta do this again. Exactly. I gotta, you know, test the waters, dip my toe in and see if this person is going to be okay with me, if they're gonna feel offended, if they're gonna do this. And it's like, because this friend group is such a transparent friend group, and I love what Prezetta said. Shout out to you, Zetta, if you watch it. But Prezetta said that she doesn't feel a way about being around new people and new environments because she has nothing to hide. And when I tell you, her saying that literally almost brought me to tears, because I think it was deeper than she even said. Exactly. Somebody saying, I have no problem in the rooms that I walk in and the people that I encounter because I have nothing to hide. Yeah. And it's like, it's not that she's saying I don't have things I'm shameful about or that I feel insecure about. But what I'm saying is I don't feel the need to hide those things because I'm a human. And that's just how it is. Like, this is how humans are. And that resonated with me so much. So it's like, building friendships, I'm like, my guard was up. I'm like, Lord, no, I'm not doing the trust thing. But, you know, of course, he always give me that. Right. That little tap, like, hey, right. Nuh-uh. No, ma'am, we're not doing this. Turn around. Right. We're not doing
Get
this.
it together.
You're going to be transparent. And I can vibe with people all day. Sit, vibe, have a good time, and still not feel like you're my friend, because friendships require trust. So like, I could be around you, have a good time, but you might not be my friend because I don't trust you, because I don't allow myself to be open enough for you to know me enough for us to start building trust.
Yeah.
But in this group, I have started doing that, and it's just been beautiful, and it's almost making me feel like trust is a great thing. It's not that bad going in with trust.
No, that's really real. That's really real. And you really brought language to kind of what God has been telling me. Like, in this season, he's actively, I've heard him say, like, come out of hiding.
Come out.
Like, and that takes trust. Like Prezetta said, like, she can openly be comfortable with who she is and herself because she's come out of the hidden spaces. And he's told me that, and I'm still walking through that. And like you said, I'll never probably get all the way there, but I'm grateful that I don't have to, so I can remain dependent. But he's been telling me, like, come out of hiding. And I'm just like, well, Lord, it's safer here.
It is.
It's just safer.
It's safer.
And he was like, yeah, but comfort was never the call. And you can trust me with all of you. And I'm just like, are you sure?
Yeah,
not
but
too
like,
much.
are you? I literally listened to a song today called Breathe when I was working out this morning.
The vibes.
The vibes. But it was like a R&B gospel song. And in the message, the girl was talking about, God, how do I know I can trust you, though, when stuff hit the fan?
Exactly.
And that's what she was talking about the song. And I really loved the song because I was like, but this is real, though. This is stuff we scared to talk about. Oh, my goodness, you're questioning trusting God. God is here for you. But that's not real.
Exactly.
We be struggling to trust even in God because we barely could trust people. So it's like, I love the song because I'm like, this is real, though. I respect that. Like, sometimes even though God, and it's like you said, we have to remember.
Exactly.
Remember when God brought the Israelites out of Egypt and they was ready to run back. They had forgot.
Yeah.
They needed a moment to sit and remember. And that word remember has so much power to me now.
It does.
When I have those days where I'm questioning so much, and God, I have to sit now and I say, but God, it's not that I'm questioning things that you haven't shown me.
Exactly.
It's already proven to me that you gonna do.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not finna talk to you about rent. Rent getting paid.
Because didn't I do it last time? Don't come to me about stuff you already done prayed about.
And stuff you already know I'm gonna do.
Exactly.
Stuff I told you not to worry about. Why are you even bringing this up? Like, y'all, rent always get paid. It get paid. Life is cool, but sometimes I casually just bring it up just to be like, well, Lord, money been good, bills being paid. Can we keep it going?
We still cool, right?
Right. Can we just keep it going?
Right.
Why are we bringing this up?
Right.
Obviously,
right.
But also, too, another thing I was going to say, as we were talking about the trust barrier and stuff like that, that goes back into our last episode. I think another touch point of struggle with trust is that trusting requires vulnerability and communication. And vulnerability and communication, I think, is probably essential. The two hardest things that people struggle with. And I feel like I've grown to a place in my life where I am comfortable with vulnerability and communication, but I haven't always been this way. But now I've experienced how freeing it is to become friends with those two things. Yeah. Vulnerability and communication. It saves so much fire and flames and toxicity from festering in relationships with people when both parties can be like, okay, above all, I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm communicate. Yeah. In the way we communicate. Right. But that's also hard with God because like we said last episode, sometimes it's hard to come to God and communicate. Exactly. And to be like, how do I know you're not finna shun me? And be like, depart from me. I cast you away. Right. You're going to be in the sea of forgetfulness with everybody else sins, but like I don't want to talk to you. Right. But it's like, no, vulnerability and communication helps trust be fostered even stronger. Yeah. With the Lord. Like you have to be vulnerable with him, just like with your friends. Yeah. With God. Yeah.
And honey, that's another thing that we are currently walking through on this journey of Jesus in therapy is the vulnerability. I am naturally not a vulnerable person. But that is because I hadn't trusted the people that were nearest to me. And one thing that I love about God is the fact that he knows what we need before we ever even have to open up our mouths. On this journey, God has really opened up my eyes to the people that he's placed into my life. Like, he knows that I have an issue with trust. So he put people in my life who he knew I would be able to trust when I gave it a chance, and I gave them a chance. And I am opening up to that now, that, okay, it's okay for me to be vulnerable, and it's okay to share the things that bother me, because he's placed people in my life who care. They care enough about what concerns me, and they want to help me, and they see so much more that I don't see about myself. Like, I was walking through this season, well, just a couple weeks ago. I was really discouraged, and I felt like I wanted to call somebody, but I didn't know who to call. And it's like, girl, you have so many people in your life, but you just choose not to. But it's because of the fear of that acceptance, or the fear that, they're actually going to see me for who I really am. And I told God that, like, I fear the fact that people will see me and honestly see that I am not a good person. It's like, I try very hard, but it's like, deep down, I know my innermost thoughts. I know what I feel in my heart. And, but I know that also there's another side of me that isn't that. But it's like, he showed me, like, but I place people in your life who know you, who actually do have definition to who you are. And you can be okay with opening up and openly being vulnerable about the fact that you struggle with certain things, and that, something that they say might upset you and stuff like that. But being able to trust that the people that he's placed in my life, I don't have to second guess. I don't have to give them this surface level version of me just to test out the waters to see if they will be comfortable with me. Because I've done that all my life. Like, I've shrunk so much to be digestible for people so that I can make them comfortable, even though I'm still sitting here so uncomfortable and so not myself. And I've done that for years. It's like, to the point where now I'm like, there's so many layers to me that I've never even realized until I actually sought after and got the help. But now he's showing me, like, okay, it's okay. Yeah. I've placed him in your life, and like we were saying on the last episode, like, they deal with things actively too. So it's not like you're alone. But sometimes you can feel like it because you don't open up that, well, it's just me dealing with this. Like, I'm the only person that's going
to do
this.
And we're all just not speaking on it. That's what it is.
Exactly.
It's like, literally, I learned from,
exactly.
I had in January went through a season where I was going through a faith fight. And talking to a friend who not only was able to relate and said that they've been through that same season before, but also they told me how their friend went through it. I'm like, yo, I thought I was the only person who was like I'm like, oh no, like, oh, people deal with this. Yeah. And it's because we're not communicating, we're not vulnerable. We could be helping each other so much more if we all were just willing to open up and communicate. But we're scared of being rejected, which is understandable. But that's why community is important, and allowing God to lead you to the community that's for you. Because I didn't think I could have a community that allows so much transparency like ours, but we do have that, and it's like I'm so blessed to be in relationship with these types of people, and that's what friends are for. You know, I think that because we all battle with these negative sides of us, we sometimes let it pester and foster, and we're like, you think I'm great, but you don't know. In my mind, I be over here like, I wish this, I wish that, I wish this, like, like, I can't stand this and stuff like that. But that's the thing, like, you're battling between things of the supernatural, not of the natural. Like, you're battling between flesh. And it's like, with that, that's not you, though. You're God's daughter. You're an heir to a king. So as friends, when you decide to bring those things to us, our job is to remind you, yes, that lives in you, but that's not you.
Exactly.
And let me tell you the you that I know and the you that I see. So you don't allow those negative thoughts to foster so completely to where you just start thinking, oh, I'm a horrible person. No, you're a great person. Right. You one of the best women I know. Yeah. Okay? My best gal. Yeah. You're an amazing person. And it's like, those negative, intrusive thoughts from the enemy will sometimes get to us and make us feel like we're horrible because we thought this thought that we know isn't pleasing to God. But no, that's what your friends and your community is for. It's like, Yeah, you thought that thought, but baby, I'm not concerned because I know you. I see the good in you, and I experience the good in you every day. This is you.
Yeah.
That's not you. That's what you battling with, but that's not you. And you don't have to take on the identity of the negativity.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes we do that.
Yeah.
We experience negativity and we make it be our identity, and we're like, we're bad.
Exactly.
No, you're not. You're good. You're a good person. You're good.
Yeah.
Stop. But
my God.
Yeah, but yeah, trust is a journey, y'all. Trust is hard, and we acknowledge that and respect that. And I feel like sometimes folks just make it seem like it's so easy. It's like sometimes I used to get irritated when I go to people for encouragement. They be like, just trust God. I'm like, that's not enough.
That is not what that's not enough. Like you said, that is not it. I mean, that's it. But in this moment, teach me how, though.
Teach me how. Yeah. Teach me how. And now I've been asking the Lord himself, Lord, teach me how to trust you.
Exactly.
And I used to not ask the Lord that because I'm like, you the one I'm supposed to be trusting. So how am I asking you how to teach me? You want me to show up trusting you.
Right.
But he's like, no, show up not trusting me. I can do something with that.
Exactly.
As long as you showing up, though. Show up not trusting, being confused, feeling antsy. I will lead you from there.
Exactly, because he loves us way too much to leave us there. Like, that's what's so beautiful about it. Like, we can show up, however, with whatever, trusting in him and knowing that, honey, he loves us way too much to see us still be staying there. He wants us to grow from there.
Yes, yes. Amen. Amen.
Stupid.
Yeah, we hope this episode can be a blessing to somebody. Hope you guys are enjoying Faith Avenue. If y'all have things or anything that y'all would even like to suggest, like things that you are wanting to hear, like maybe topics that y'all would want to be discussed.
Yeah.
Me and Kennedi aren't fried. So if it's a topic we have no territory in, we are not going to talk about it. Because we feel like testimonies are only impactful because the people have experienced it and they're able to testify from where they were and where God brought them through.
Yeah.
Too. So it's like, but if you mention something, it's like we feel like, we actually can talk about and be transparent about our experience with that and where we currently are with that, if we're still struggling or not. Let us know down in the comments below.
For sure.
But as always, follow us on Instagram. Ding. I'm doing a little ding bell. Ding. Like, comment, and subscribe.
And, that was it.
Yeah.
All right.
Be faithful, people. All right. Bye.